Good, y'all. What's the numbers TV? It's your boy Paul Rowe. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already, and like a video if you appreciate the content that Paul Rowe and What's the Numbers I provided. Today we back with another profile piece. This profile piece is on Tax Stone. In this video we're going to take a look at his early life growing up in Brooklyn, New York, where he would start running the streets at an early age. Then we will talk about how Tax Stone would lose an eye, his time spent behind bars, and the unorthodox path he took to becoming a gang member. We will also discuss his rise to popularity as the host of Tax Season, one of the original hip-hop street-related podcasts to be buzzing on the internet. And lastly, we will break down the details and outcome of the shooting incident involving Tax and rapper Troy Ave at Irving Plaza, which left one person dead and Tax in jail. Daryl Campbell, better known as Tax Stone, is from the East New York section of Brooklyn. That neighborhood at the time, and even to this day, is plagued with drugs, gangs, and violence. Tax himself was a product of his environment, and by his early teens would become a member of the Bloods. But rather than joining the conventional way, Tax and his friends just decided one day to buy some red flags and start claiming blood. Eventually, they would link up with West Coast gang leader T. Rogers while he was visiting New York and get the okay to start a West Coast set on the East Coast by some LA Pyrus that were with T. Rogers at the time. What came next, according to Tax, was the expansion of an unsanctioned West Coast set on the East Coast. The set would grow in numbers to the point that other hoods would start to take notice. Tax at this time was into a lot on the streets of Brooklyn, and one day his lifestyle would catch up to him when he was shot in one of his eyes by a kid he had been bullying for several months straight. Tax would end up losing vision in the eye that was shot but wouldn't suffer no brain damage. In his early 20s, Tax got locked up on robbery and gun possession charges, which landed him in jail from 2006 to 2009. He faced other criminal charges since then, including weapons assault and intimidation charges stemming from a January 2012 altercation at the now closed Hype Lounge in Manhattan. Altogether, Tax Stone has spent about 7 years in jail. Tax, now home from jail and in his later 20s, will start to find a lane for himself on the different social networks like Twitter and Instagram. Many people online will look at his opinions and comments on certain topics as the unfiltered voice of the streets. Tax will continue to use the internet to advance his status, open new doors, and build industry relationships. He will meet radio personality Charlamagne the God, who at the time had a podcast with Andrew Schultz called Brilliant Idiots, and a show on MTV called Uncommon Sense. Tax, after appearing on the podcast, will also start to make spot appearances on the MTV show, where he became a crowd favorite and eventually a recurring guest. From there, Tax Stone would start his own podcast in March of 2015 called Tax Season on Loudspeakers Network. The podcast would take off to a certain extent, drawing a nice amount of listeners every week. He would conduct some classic interviews like the one with Beanie Siegel after Beans was assaulted by a Meek Mill affiliate. It was a thrilling interview that's remarkable not only for the clarity of Siegel's expos, but also because Tax asked only 2 questions in the course of a 90-minute conversation, letting Siegel dominate the majority of the interview. It will be more memorable moments on Tax's podcast, like his long-awaited interview with Meek Mill and another one with radio personality Star. Also during this time, his beef with New York-based rapper Troy Ave that started as just a war of words will start to heat up on the internet. Both parties would exchange disses to one another with threats soon to follow. Eventually, all the threats and disses would come to a head when in May of 2016, Tax would bump into Troy Ave at Irving Plaza in Manhattan while attending a T.I. show. A confrontation would ensue between the two and their entourage, resulting in a fight and shooting. When the smoke cleared, Ronald McFadden, aka Benga, was dead. Troy Ave was shot in the leg and later seen on video shooting in the club. The story at first will be all over the place, with some saying allegedly Troy Ave killed his own friend, to some saying allegedly Tax did all the shooting, then dropped the gun allowing Troy Ave to pick it up. Troy Ave will be locked up on attempted murder and weapons charges as the authorities will start to work the case. As for Tax Stone, his arrest didn't come until January 2017, when police connected him to the murder weapon. Prosecutors told the judge that Tax allegedly carried the firearm into the venue and fired multiple shots, including the ones that killed McFadden. He would plead guilty to the federal gun charge in June of 2017, and about a month later, in July 2017, Tax will be charged with second-degree murder for his role in the Irving Plaza incident. So now in the feds, doing his time for the gun, Tax is sitting up waiting for his murder trial to begin. Troy Ave, on the other hand, is out on bail but also awaiting his fate and day in court to fight the charges against him, with both their lives and careers being drastically affected. Was it all worth it for the two? Probably not. But sometimes pride and ego gets the best of a situation. But yo, it's What's the Numbers TV is a quick profile piece on Tax Stone, real name Daryl Campbell. You might be in tune with who he was, maybe not. But you know, he had a podcast that was popping off, one of the first podcasts that was really doing numbers. Probably would have been bigger. He was getting TV shows on BET and things like that to pull up, and like he was moving around, moving and shaking. Definitely probably would have been getting to the bag a lot more by now. But sadly, he's sitting up. You know, he did cop out to the gun, so it means he brought the gun into the venue. Now, everything's still alleged because as far after that, because they both haven't went to court, they both haven't copped out or went to trial, not guilty. So as of everything else besides Tax admitting to bringing the gun into the venue, everything's still alleged at this point. Rest in peace to Banger, you know, definitely, because a lot of the times he gets lost in this whole story. You know, some people forget that somebody did pass away in this whole situation. So, you know, rest in peace to him. Troy Ave was buzzing at the time. His career, he got shut down a lot, couldn't really perform too many places like that, so his career slowed up. But I'm pretty sure he's still doing his thing, still making his money. So we'll have to see what the outcome is, you know, when everything plays itself out. But like I said, I also want y'all artists to get in tune. Like you've seen the last couple of videos, we got some artists working the promo thing. Now, we're going to be doing that moving forward as far as like eventually we want to start releasing some music on this channel eventually and start doing different things on this channel. So this is the first step into that. Interviews and all types of things is coming. So like I said, get at me on email, get at me on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? Just know there is a little price with the promo, so just be in tune with that, but we definitely can work some things out. So like I said, man, it's a quick profile piece on What's the Numbers TV. Go check out the new artist Spotlight who's on Column Street, Chapo. You know what I'm saying? Go check us out, go check his music out. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, he gonna be in tune with this channel a little more. You probably see some more on interviews and things like that. So like I said, man, What's the Numbers TV? Appreciate every one of y'all. Go follow the Instagram, the Patreon, the merch, all that good stuff. And we back before you know it's your boy Poro. We out of here. Peace.